We've based the booklet we're publishing today on a 10 megaton bomb, which is a pretty big one, and the effect there would be of blast, of fires resulting from the heat and from radioactive fallout. The blast of total destruction would be 3.5 miles, with irreparable damage up to about 5 miles outside that, up to 13 miles moderate or severe damage, and up to 25 miles slight damage like broken windows. So far as the heat ball was concerned, that could well start fires up to a radius of 10 miles. The radioactive fallout, which would come later from the cloud of radioactive particles, which might drift in any direction according to the wind and the weather conditions, and that might fall out any distance up to hundreds of miles.
In the event of a nuclear war, presumably a lot of these bombs would be dropped. Would anybody survive such an attack?
Well, there have recently been criticisms or suggestions that 6 bombs would destroy the life in this country. Well, you've only got to take a map. You're not sure that either they'd all get in or they'd find their target, and indeed we hope and pray they'll never come at all. But if half a dozen bombs, and you can fit them anywhere you like on the map of Britain, fell, there would be millions of people killed, but there would still be a far greater number requiring help, and particularly requiring warning to protect themselves against radioactive fallout.
What would the effects of radioactivity be on the people who did survive?
Well, a great deal would depend on whether they got the warning and they took cover and took the notice of the warning, because it's very important to realize that thickness between you and the radioactive fallout plays a tremendous part in your protection. For example, if you were in a ground floor room of a terrace of houses with the windows sandbagged according to the advised precaution, you would have 40 times less dose than if you were in the street outside. And it is because of that it's so absolutely essential for the civil defense forces to be well manned, to give the warnings, to detect the radioactive fallout, and provide what would be very real warning and protection for millions of people who could be saved if they took the normal precautions.
Miss Hornsby-Smith, at ninepence, this small and rather ordinary-looking little book seems very expensive. Couldn't it have been given away free?
If you give away a document free, it doesn't make people read it, and you would distribute far more at vast cost and probably have less readers. I don't think ninepence to save your life is very great cost.
After talking to Miss Hornsby-Smith, we chose a member of the public at random and asked him to read the book in his lunch hour.
Well, I think it's a very good thing it's been published, and I think people ought to read it. The one or two criticisms that occur to me, it seems to be written from the point of view that we'll get a lot of warning. Well, I think that if we do have a war, it's quite likely to happen very quickly. It could even happen while I'm talking to you now. And I think that the instructions they're going to have to give are going to be complicated. And I would think it would be very much better, rather than having a siren system, to have a system of loudspeakers with their own power plants and loudspeaker vans and so on and so forth, so that they can give these instructions clearly.